Childhood friend Sophia Taylor was caught in a scandalous rumor with school heartthrob Dylan Parker. A video showed her leaving his house disheveled and flushed. Furious, I was certain of her innocence, stepped forward, and fought to defend her, swearing to everyone there had been no impropriety between them. She had merely visited. In the end, the rumor died down because of my testimony. However, I could never have imagined that Sophia Taylor would harbor resentment toward me for it. She blamed me for meddling, believing I had ruined her golden chance to take her relationship with Dylan Parker further. This twisted grudge ultimately drove her to murder me. When I opened my eyes again, I found I'd been reborn on the very day the rumor first started spreading. This time, I will not defend you anymore. I will let you reap the evil you sow and pay the heaviest price. My head felt like it would split open, and my throat still seemed to hold the searing pain of being burned. Along with that nauseating, cloying and acrid medicinal taste, I suddenly sat bolt upright in bed, gasping for air. At first, everything before my eyes was a blur of darkness. Then I gradually adjusted to the faint blue light of the bedside alarm clock. Am I not already dead? Dead from that cup of deliberately brewed to calm me down. Poison Sophia Taylor gave me. My heart hammered wildly as if it were going to burst out of my chest. I groped for the bedside lamp. The familiar yet strange Stanford dorm bed came into view. The poster on the wall, the half-empty bottle of mineral water at the edge of the desk. Everything matched a certain point in my memory exactly. I snatched the phone from the pillow. The screen lit up. Tuesday, May 10th, 2024. 6:47 a.m. That date pierced my brain like a cold awl. This day, how could I possibly forget this day? It was that morning when the filthy rumor about my childhood friend Sophia Taylor and the school's golden boy Dylan Parker began to spread through the entire Stanford campus like a plague. I was reborn. Reborn back to the origin point where all this tragedy began just as I was trying to digest this shocking fact and calm the nausea-inducing dizziness. The dorm door was suddenly and roughly slammed open. Holy crap, Ethan. It's exploded. It's exploded. Exploded. My roommate Mike Wilson barreled in like a rolling cannonball. Phone in hand, disbelief written all over his face and his voice loud enough to lift the roof. Big trouble. Your childhood friend Sophia. Sophia Taylor. Oh my God. Leo Chen, who was in the bed opposite, was woken up and grumbled unhappily. Mike, what were you yelling about so early? Can't a person sleep? Sleep my ass? The sky's about to fall? Mike Wilson paid no attention, flinging himself onto the edge of my bed and almost pressing his phone screen into my face. Look, the Stanford Anonymous Forum and several big groups are exploding. Someone leaked it saying they caught Sophia Taylor leaving Dylan Parker's upscale neighborhood last night. The names Dylan Parker and Sophia Taylor instantly expelled Leo Chen's drowsiness. He shot up from the bed with a whoosh, eyes wide. What? Who? Dylan Parker. Sophia Taylor. Those two have nothing to do with each other. Ethan, what's going on? My heart went cold as ice, but my face tried hard to hold the same dazed, annoyed look from being woken up. What are you making a fuss about? What, Dylan Parker? What's wrong with Sophia? I asked on purpose, repeating the lines from my past life, though my state of mind was completely different. What now? Mike Wilson opened a blurry but recognizable video, his voice high-pitched with excitement. Look, even if it's shaky, that height, that hairstyle, that dress, it's absolutely Sophia Taylor. And look at the gate of that neighborhood, Beverly Hills. Dylan Parker's family lives there. Everyone at school knows. Leo Chen jumped out of bed and leaned in, his head squeezed next to Mike Wilson's. Let me see. Let me see. TSK. Something's off here. Her hair is such a mess. Why is her face so red? Her jacket looks like it's not on right. Mike Wilson, spitting as he spoke, added, not just not on. Right. Look at the comments. What were they all saying? He snatched the phone, swiped down fast, and loudly read aloud those glaring comments. Holy, __, conclusive evidence. Pure. Goddess Sophia Taylor came out of the school heartthrob's house late at night, looking like this. This flushed face who's buying that she went over to ask about homework, ask about bed work, maybe. She usually seems so well behaved. Didn't expect her to be this wild. Went straight to her crush's place. Dylan, you're awesome. Did he just seal the deal? Don't talk nonsense up there. Maybe Sophia Taylor posted herself. Look at that satisfied face of hers. All kinds of obscene guesses and filthy words sprang from Mike Wilson's mouth. Leo Chun clicked his tongue, then looked at me with a complex, slightly sympathetic expression. Ethan, this you didn't hear any rumors before. Isn't she your childhood friend? The one you're closest to. In my previous life, when I heard this, I would have blood rush to my head, snatch the phone, and roar, nonsense. It's all slander. Sophia is not that kind of person. Then immediately rush out to find her. But now I just listen expressionless. Those malicious words are like needles, but they no longer pierce my protective instincts. They pierce my ridiculous past. That ridiculous previous life of mine isn't my sordid history. It's the road I came by. I slowly throw off the quilt, get out of bed, and begin dressing. My movements is unhurried, even a little overly deliberate. Mike Wilson sees me, so calm, and becomes anxious instead. Hey, Ethan, are you okay? Give us some reaction. This is Sophia Taylor, your childhood sweetheart. I tie my shoelace without looking up, my voice flat and calm. The video is so blurry. What can you really see? Maybe it's just an angle. You people believe whatever spread online. Leo Chin was taken aback for a moment, but it shows so clearly and Sophia Taylor does look like that. I stood up, picked up a towel and a toothbrush. Even if she did, what does that have to do with me? Mike Wilson and Leo Chan were both stunned by that line. They exchanged a look that said, has he lost his mind from anger? I opened the door and the murmurs in the hallway suddenly became much clearer. At the entrance of the neighboring dorm, a few boys were gathered together, also holding their phones. No way. Sophia Taylor and Dylan Parker. Looks like them didn't expect that. TSK. You can't judge a book by its cover. On the way to the washroom, I heard two girls whispering to each other while washing up. Did you hear? That's Sophia Taylor from class 3. Yeah, everyone's talking in the group chat. So shameless. She actually went to Dylan Parker's house. She acts so innocent all the time. But it turns out her schemes run so deep. Dylan Parker likes her. Did she use some tricks or something? There were more people in the washroom and the gossip was louder and bolder. Some lowered their voices deliberately when they saw me, but their inquisitive looks and whispered chatter were impossible to hide. Hey, isn't that Ethan Johnson who's always with Sophia Taylor? It's him. He's probably green-faced right now. What's there to it? That's just the dignity of being the backup. I turned on the faucet and forcefully rinsed my face with the cold water, trying to wash away the chill and hatred left by betrayal and death. I lifted my head and looked at the face in the mirror, still slightly childish and dotted with droplets. Ethan, stay calm. In this life, you're just a spectator. After washing my face and returning to the dorm, Mike Wilson and Leo Chan were still in a heated discussion. When they saw me come in, the atmosphere grew slightly awkward. Mike Wilson tentatively asked, Ethan, aren't you really going to ask Sophia Taylor? Maybe there's been a misunderstanding. You two are so close. I put down my toiletries, picked up my backpack, and said, __, you asked, and then, so what? I paused, tugged a faint, nearly expressionless smile at the corner of my mouth, but my gaze turned cold. Don't ask any more. It's meaningless. The fake can't become real, and the real can't become fake. We must learn to respect other people's fate. After speaking, I ignored the two stunned looks and walked straight out of the dormitory. This time, Ethan Johnson lived for himself. Let them act out their show. In a morning class, I sat in the back row like an outsider. Every vibration in the air seemed to carry the names Sophia Taylor and Dylan Parker. Whispered gossip, flickering glances, suppressed excited chatter. It was all so familiar and yet so nauseating. The bell for recess had just rung, and I was about to get up and stretch when that familiar figure, as expected, appeared at the classroom door. Sophia Taylor. Her eyes were a little swollen, as if she had just been crying. The tip of her nose was red, her face pale. She kept her head slightly lowered, hands nervously twisting together like a frightened little rabbit, easy to stir anyone's urge to protect her, which of course included the foolish me from my past life. She timidly glanced into the classroom. Her gaze landed precisely on me, and with a heavy nasal tone, she softly called, Ethan. That cry was wrenching, full of grievance. In an instant, almost the whole class's gazes converged like searchlights. Mike Wilson immediately nudged me with his elbow, lowering his voice, though he couldn't hide his curiosity. Here she comes. Sophia has come for you. Leon also leaned in, chuckling low. Hey, the person herself is here. Let's see how you handle this. I let out a cold snort inside, but my face stayed expressionless as I walked over slowly. Something wrong? I stood in front of her, my tone as flat as if asking about the weather forecast. Tears fell from Sophia Taylor as easily as if someone had turned on a faucet, plopping one after another. She sniffed, her voice choked. Ethan, did you also see those ridiculous things? Yeah, heard some of it. I nodded, my tone still very calm. I don't know who could be so mean to do this to me. She cried, her shoulders trembling slightly. My reputation is ruined. How can I face anyone now? At that moment, a girl walking by stopped, paused, and asked with concern, Sophia, are you okay? Don't take those things on the forum to heart. We all know you're not that kind of person. Sophia Taylor lifted her tear-filled eyes, looked gratefully at the girl, but shook her head hard, her voice carrying a deliberately strong fragility. Thank you, but no need to explain anything for me. It's really unnecessary. Another boy came over too, somewhat indignant. How can you not explain? They said such awful things. Why don't we go find Mr. Thompson, the counselor, and talk to him? Sophia Taylor shook her head firmly again, tears flowing more fiercely. No, really, no. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. And besides, she paused deliberately at this point, as if it were hard to say, then slightly lowered her head. Her voice was as light as a feather, yet loud enough with the few people nearby who were pricking up their ears to hear. And actually, it was Dylan who invited me. He asked me to go to his place to discuss the planning for next week's school anniversary. We really were just talking about business. I don't know why I looked so disheveled when I came out. Maybe I was just too hot. If I clear this up now, it might make me look guilty or as if I betrayed Dylan's kindness. Her words, which seemed like an explanation, were actually pouring fuel on the fire with every sentence. Dylan Parker invited you discussing the anniversary plan. Which department? I haven't heard anything about that. Wow. He invited you over to his house himself. The students nearby immediately exchanged glances and began whispering. The focus of their gossip instantly shifted from did Sophia Taylor behave inappropriately to the more tantalizing point of Dylan Parker took the initiative to invite. Sophia Taylor listened happily to the surrounding chatter, but her face still wore a tearful aggrieved expression as if deeply wrong yet exceedingly considerate of others. She looked at me again, her eyes full of helplessness and dependence. Ethan, don't you think so? We who are innocent are clear in ourselves, right? Given time, everyone will understand. It was a misunderstanding, won't they? I don't need someone else to clear my name. In my previous life, hearing her noble and understanding, yet so wronged words, I would have been heartbroken and immediately retorted, what do you mean the innocent are clear themselves? Rumors are terrifying. I won't let them slander you like this. I must go and set things straight. But now I just quietly watch her perform. Watch how cleverly she steers public opinion. How she packages herself as an innocent white lotus. I nodded, my tone very approving, even a little relieved. You're right, Sophia Taylor. See, you shouldn't. The line she had prepared suddenly caught as if she didn't understand what I had said. I looked at her, my expression unbearably sincere. The innocent are innocent. You're right to think that. The more someone rushes out to explain, the more it looks like they're trying to hide something. If you and Dylan Parker were just having a normal discussion, there's all the less reason to care about what others say. Time will indeed prove everything. I went along with her completely, giving the ladder she'd set up for herself another push upward. Sophia Taylor was utterly stunned, tears still hanging in her eyes, her expression frozen in a look of surprise. She apparently hadn't expected me to react like this at all. Normally, I'd be rushing to stand up for her, showing all kinds of concern and checking in, right? That shut down every line of reasoning she later had trying to persuade me not to fight dead in its tracks. The girl beside him echoed. Ethan has a point, Sophia. We all believe you. Another boy scratched his head. Maybe the more we talk, the worse it sounds. Sophia Taylor opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but found she had nothing to say. She had rehearsed a whole string of arguments to stop everyone from acting on their own to help her, but in the end, they weren't needed. The expression on her face was spectacular. wronged, stunned, flustered, and a trace of irritation at her disrupted plans. Several emotions intertwined. Is that so? She could only respond weakly, having forgotten to shed any more tears. Ethan, you also think it's better not to clear it up? Of course, I nodded affirmatively, voice casual. It's good that you've come at terms with it yourself. No need to worry about such a silly thing. Class is about to start. Go back and rest. Your eyes are all swollen from crying. My words sounded like concern, but were actually a hint to leave and reinforce the consensus to not clear it up. Sophia Taylor stood there, unable to leave, yet unable to stay. Her face flushing red, then paling. None of the reactions she had imagined for me appeared. Every line she had carefully crafted fell flat. In the end, she could only force out a smile more painful to look at than crying. Thank you, Ethan. I'll head back now. After saying that, she turned and left quickly. Although my response surprised her, the absence of my mischief made her even more satisfied. Watching her leave in such an embarrassed state, a faint, almost imperceptible sneer curled at the corner of my mouth. Clear people prove themselves clean. Sophia Taylor, you'd better actually be clean. Back at his seat, Mike Wilson looked puzzled. Huh? That's it? You're not going to help her go yell at those rumor mongers? I picked up my book and smiled faintly. Didn't you hear her? The innocent will be proven innocent. If the person involved isn't even worried, why should I be? Leo Chan touched his chin thoughtful. I just feel something's off. If it feels off, that's exactly right. Because the real show is only just beginning. Sophia Taylor's The Innocent Are Innocent routine seems to have had some effect for now. At least on the surface, the public criticism of her has eased a bit, but the private rumors and the guesses in the various small groups have only fermented more fiercely. The phrase Dylan Parker Dongyowing Dylan Parker took the initiative to invite undoubtedly added countless ambiguous possibilities to the rumor. However, this apparent calm did not last long. The next morning, an even bigger storm suddenly arrived. During break, I was leaning against the corridor window getting some air when I saw a member of the student union's publicity department, who also happens to be Dylan Parker's close buddy, Ryan Harris, with two others looking serious as they posted a huge notice on the bulletin board. The bright red header read solemn statement signed personally by Dylan Parker, his signature sweeping in bold, carrying an air of unquestionable authority. In an instant, the bulletin board was surrounded so tightly people could barely move. Holy crap. Dylan Parker issued a statement. Seriously, he's personally stepped in. Quick, see what it says. Mike Wilson squeezed into the crowd like a nimble fat loach and quickly squeezed back out, rushing up to me with an expression of extreme shock. Ethan, look. It blew up again. Dylan Parker posted an announcement to clear things up. Awesome. Leo Chen hurried over as well. What did it say? What did it say? Mike Wilson imitated the announcement's tone, reading with intonation and cadence. I, Dylan Parker, hereby solemnly declare regarding the recent false rumors circulating on the Stanford campus about me and fellow student Sophia Taylor. He cleared his throat and raised his voice. First, apart from necessary school-level activities, I have no private interactions with classmates Sophia Taylor, and there was certainly no invitation to my home. This statement was like a bomb completely blowing apart Sophia Taylor's claim yesterday that Senior Dylan actively invited her. The crowd instantly erupted in commotion. What? No Mastian but Sophia Taylor said yesterday. Okay, oh. So Sophia Taylor paid him and lied. This is so face-slapping. Mike Wilson continued reading more vigorously. Second, regarding the so-called video circulating, its filming angle is deliberate and the content taken out of context, which is seriously infringed upon my reputation and portrait rights. I never authorized anyone to carry out such malicious filming outside my residence. Third, Mike Wilson was almost shouting, I have formally reported this to the police and retained lawyers to handle the matter fully. I will pursue legal responsibility against any individual or organization that maliciously fabricates, defames, or spreads false information and will not tolerate it. At the end of the announcement, it even emphasized in bold, I am determined to use legal means to defend my innocence. Call the police and hired a lawyer. Leo Chan sucked in a breath. Playing this big. The surrounding students' murmurs exploded like boiling water. Call the police. Oh my God. Young Master Dylan is serious. It looks like he's really been pissed off. He was absolutely slandered. I knew it. How could Dylan Parker be interested in Sophia Taylor? Wasn't what Sophia Taylor said yesterday a lie? Talk of discussing the proposal of actively inviting him. Why would she lie? And that the innocent need fear no exposed line. What a joke. The person herself came out and slapped her in the face. That face is getting slapped hard. This time Sophia Taylor is doomed. I listened to the murmurs around me and looked at the striking announcement on the bulletin board, feeling no ripple of emotion. If anything, I almost wanted to laugh. Sophia Taylor, did you see that? The senior Dylan you obsess over not only denied all your claims, he even went straight to the police. The beautiful dream you so carefully wove shattered surprisingly fast. Just then, from the corner of my eye, I spotted Sophia Taylor coming down the hallway from the other end. She must have heard the commotion, too. Her face was paler than yesterday, her steps unsteady, and her eyes were full of panic and disbelief. She clearly hadn't expected Dylan Parker to react so fiercely, so mercilessly. A few girls seeing her immediately shot curious glances and began whispering to each other softly, but loud enough for her to hear. Look, she's here. She still dares to come. Her lies have all been exposed. How shameful. Sophia Taylor's body visibly trembled. She bit her lip so hard she nearly drew blood. She didn't dare look at the bulletin board or meet the gazes of those around her. She dropped her head suddenly and quickened her pace, trying to get away. Of all times, Ryan Harris had just finished posting the notice and happened to turn and see her. Ryan Harris knew Dylan Parker's stance. He pushed up his glasses, his face expressionless, but his tone carried clear coldness and a hint of warning. Sophia, you saw Dylan's statement, right? A lawyer's letter and notice of a police investigation will arrive soon. I hope some people take care and stop embellishing things. If it causes more serious consequences, you'll be held responsible. Those words were like a heavy slab, striking Sophia Taylor across the face. She jerked her head up, eyes bloodshot, tears welling, her lips trembling. She tried to say something, but not a single word came out. Overwhelming shame and fear seized her. Everyone's gaze around her felt like needles pricking her. I only like him. What's wrong with that? Sophia Taylor suddenly lost control and blurted out, then immediately realized she had misspoken, clamping her hand over her mouth. Her face went from pale to flushed, then ashen again. The surroundings fell silent for a moment, then a few suppressed exclamations and gasps escaped. What's wrong with me liking him? Those words in that situation were almost tantamount to a tacit admission of certain things. Sophia Taylor also realized how foolish she had sounded. Tears surged out of her eyes as she shouted at Ryan Harris and the others, "You don't believe me. You're all against me." After saying that, she let out a suppressed, nearly sobbing whimper, covered her face with her hands, and a mess pushed through the crowd and ran away. Mike Wilson stared in disbelief. Holy, did she just say she likes Dylan Parker? Leo Chan clicked his tongue as he watched her walk away. TSK, she does look pretty pitiful. Mike Wilson was less sympathetic. Pitiful. She was a victim at first, but she lied herself into this. Try to ride Dylan Parker's coattails. She blew it. Mike Wilson looked at me and said in a sympathetic tone, Ethan, looks like there really was nothing between them. Dylan Parker even called the cops, but Sophia Taylor seems to be serious about this. I pulled my gaze back, my expression still neutral, as if I had just watched a forest that had nothing to do with me. It doesn't matter, I said, yesterday, the innocent will be vindicated. I paused, glanced at the sternly worded notice on the bulletin board, and added meaningfully, it seems someone is not clean, so naturally, someone else is getting anxious. Legal measures, huh? Sophia Taylor, this is far more effective than me confronting you or arguing for you. I'm really looking forward to hearing how your the innocent or clear theory will sound when the police and lawyers come knocking. This drama just keeps getting more thrilling. The news that Dylan Parker had reported to the police and hired a lawyer swept through like a cold wind, instantly dispersing the previous atmosphere of ambiguous voyeuristic chatter and casting a serious, even somewhat oppressive tone over the whole affair. The laughter in the corridor between classes diminished. In its place were lowered voices and pensive looks. Lunch hour, the Stamford dining hall was still packed, but the focus of conversation was no longer whether Sophia Taylor and Dylan Parker were involved. It had become, who did this? Looks like the cops really came. I heard they're checking the surveillance at the academic buildings and dorm entrances. What about that anonymous account that posted the video on the forum? Can they trace it? The nerve on them actually making up rumors about Dylan Parker and even filming a video could have been done by someone outside. We're competitor of Dylan Parker. Mike Wilson, Leo Chan, and I sat in our usual spot listening to the conversations around us. Mike Wilson pushed at his food. Brow furrowed. Who do you think pulled this? This method is a bit too dirty. Leo Chan lowered his voice. Could it be that Sophia Taylor offended someone? That they're getting back at her like this? Mike Wilson shook his head. Doesn't seem like it. She usually seems tactful. Doesn't seem like someone who would hold such a deadly grudge. At that moment, we saw Sophia Taylor walk into the cafeteria with her class monitor, Olivia Martinez. Sophia Taylor's face was still pale. Her eyes swollen and red, but compared to yesterday's pure grievance. Today, there was more bewilderment, unease, and fear. She walked cautiously, as if afraid of disturbing something. They had only been seated a short while when our class study committee member, Emma Lewis, that warm-hearted girl, carried her unfinished tray over again, her face full of concern. Emma Lewis, Sophia, are you okay? Don't worry too much. The police are here. They'll definitely catch that villain. Sophia Taylor looked up, tears falling like beads on a broken string, her voice trembling with fear. Emma, I am scared. I don't know who. Why would they do this to me? Take pictures of my face like that and spread lies now that the police are here. What if they think there's something wrong with me? This time she fully embraced the victim posture, perfectly placing herself in the position of someone maliciously framed. Emma Lewis hurried to comfort her. No way. You're the victim, too. The police are surely here to investigate whoever made the video and spread the rumors. People like that should be arrested. A girl at the next table leaned over to chime in. Exactly, Sophia. Don't be afraid. We all know you're not that kind of person. Someone must be jealous of you. Another guy cut in. Could it be that someone was targeting Dylan Parker and you got dragged into it by accident? That suggestion immediately drew agreement from several people. Yeah, totally possible. Dylan Parker is so famous. There are bound to be people trying to get at him. The person who filmed that is despicable. They deliberately chose that angle to make people misunderstand. How immoral. We must catch that person. Sophia Taylor listened as everyone chimed in and pointed their fingers at the rumor monger. She seemed slightly calmer, but the panic in her eyes hadn't entirely faded. She sobbed. Thank you for believing me, but I'm really scared. If that person could film once, they could do it again. What do they want to achieve? Emma Lewis squeezed her hand and encouraged her. Don't worry, the police are involved. He can't get away. It will all come to light soon. Mike Wilson looked over, scratched his head, and said softly to us. Seeing it this way, Sophia Taylor has it rough, too. Being dragged into this for no reason and getting criticized for so long. Lycan nodded as well. Yeah, it seems we were overthinking it before. She might really have been innocently filmed. The person spreading the rumor is despicable. I quietly ate my meal, listening to their denunciations of the rumor monger and their sympathy for Sophia Taylor, and said nothing. At that moment, Olivia Martinez seemed to receive a notification. She looked at her phone, her expression turning somewhat serious. She said, "Is Sophia Taylor?" Sophia, Mr. Thompson just sent a message. The police need to talk to a few students who know something about the situation. They might want to speak with you, too. So, go to Mr. Thompson's office this afternoon. Clatter. The chopsticks in Sophia Taylor's hand fell onto the plate, producing a crisp sound. Her face instantly drained of color, several shades paler than before. Her lips trembled, and she couldn't utter a word. Overwhelming fear nearly engulfed her. Emma Lewis hurriedly patted her back. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just go and explain the situation. Make clear what you were doing that day. It's a good way to let the police know you're innocent. Sophia Taylor's voice trembled uncontrollably. Do I need to prepare anything? Olivia Martinez comforted her. Don't be nervous. Just tell the truth. Sophia Taylor nodded in a daze, unable to eat another bite, stood up and staggered after Olivia Martinez. Mike Wilson looked at her almost frantic, stumbling figure inside, sigh. Look how scared the kid is. Leo Chen also remarked, I'd be stunned, too, in her place. I hope the police catch that damned rumor monger soon. I put down the finished plate and wiped my mouth. Catch the rumor monger. That's right. The police would definitely catch them. The best part is yet to come. The police investigation weighed on everyone's mind like a heavy stone, especially Sophia Taylor. Over the next 2 days, she was almost like a different person. In class, she was distracted, answering the teacher's questions with disconnected words. She always walked with her head down, avoiding everyone's gaze. She no longer appeared in the cafeteria, supposedly just eating something in her dorm. That same aggrieved victim posture remained, but more than that, there was an almost uncontainable bone-deep panic. She was like an over-frightened little creature. The slightest rustle would make her tremble. Speculation about the mastermind behind it all intensified across campus, with all kinds of outrageous versions surfacing, but nothing was ever confirmed. That uncertainty only heightened the tense atmosphere. That afternoon, right after a large lecture, Mr. Thompson, counselor, and Ms. Garcia, department head, walked into the classroom with grave expressions. "Students, please stay for a moment. I need to inform you about something." Mr. Thompson's tone was very grave. The classroom fell silent instantly, everyone sensing something. Mr. Thompson and Miss Garcia exchanged a few quiet words. Then Mr. Thompson took a deep breath and faced us. "Regarding the video and rumors that have been circulating widely on campus recently, the police's preliminary investigation has made some progress." Everyone held their breath. Mike Wilson gripped my arm nervously. Mr. Thompson continued. "The police, using technical means, traced the login and posting IP addresses of the anonymous accounts that first released the videos." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the class. Everyone's heart climbed into their throats. "Preliminary investigation shows that the source of the post originates from the network area inside our Stanford University, specifically from a certain area of the women's dormitory building." Wow. The classroom erupted into an immediate uproar. An insider, the girls' dorm. What does that mean? It means that the vicious rumor monger is very likely hiding among the students. Maybe even someone close by. Oh my God, it was really one of our own. Girls' dormitory. Who is it? How vicious. This is terrifying. Right under our noses. A burst of shocked, angry, fearful voices erupted. Mr. Thompson's expression grew even more serious. He raised his hand to quiet everyone. "So far, it's only a preliminary screening. We've narrowed it down to a general area, not to a specific individual. The police and the school will continue to investigate. We hope any students with information will come forward with clues. At the same time, we sternly warned that student to proactively explain the situation to the school or the police to seek leniency otherwise." Otherwise, he didn't say more, but everyone understood the seriousness of the consequences. After the announcement, Mr. Thompson and Ms. Garcia left, leaving the entire classroom boiling with intense repression and suspicion. Almost everyone's first reaction was to look at Sophia Taylor, then size each other up, especially among the girls, their eyes full of astonishment and distress. Who could it be? They usually seem fine. You can know a person's face, but not their heart. Sophia Taylor sat in a front row seat. When Mr. Thompson spoke the words, "girls' dormitory," her shoulders hunched sharply, and she looked as if all her strength had been drained at once. Nearly collapsing onto the desk. She buried her head so low that her long hair fell over her face, but I could see her hand under the desk, trembling violently. The girls around her, who had been instinctively comforting her, now subtly edged away, their expressions growing complicated. Although no one directly accused her, that invisible chain of suspicion had already begun to spread. The class bell rang. Everyone packed up with heavy hearts, and the murmurs continued unabated. Sophia Taylor was almost the first to bolt out the door, her steps frantic, nearly tripping over the threshold. Mike Wilson, Leo Chun, and I moved with the crowd toward the exit. Mike Wilson looked shaken. It really was someone from our school and a girl. What kind of grudge could that be? Leo Chun rubbed his chin, thoughtful. The girls' dormitory. It's actually pretty big, but it still feels like he didn't finish. But the implication was clear. Coupled with Sophia Taylor's earlier odd reactions, it's hard not to draw certain conclusions. Just then, we heard the conversation between the two girls ahead. Girl A, sigh, do you think the person who posted it might be living in the same dorm building as Sophia? Wouldn't that make her even more terrified? Girlby, it's possible. And did you notice when Mr. Thompson said earlier, Sophia reacted so strongly, she almost fainted. She must be terrified. Living so close to the person who harmed her. Mike Wilson heard this and nodded. Yeah, Sophia has had it really rough, slander like that and having to live in the same building as whoever posted the video. She must be terrified. I listened to their discussion and watched Sophia Taylor's retreating figure, which was almost a hasty escape. And I said calmly, maybe, but the thing to fear most is probably not her as the victim. Mike Wilson and Leo Chun looked at me at the same time. What do you mean? I didn't explain, just smiled and said, nothing. Let's go. The thing they're most afraid of course, is the rumor monger themselves, who will soon have nowhere to hide. Now, the IP address points to the women's dormitory. The mask of the rumor monger is about to be torn off, isn't it? The police's next step should be to pinpoint the terminal device that posted the video. So excited. That was the true start of the climax. The police initially traced the source of the post to the girls' dormitory building. Like a drop of cold water falling into boiling oil. It instantly set the campus above. Suspicion, fear, and excitement spread and intertwined. Almost everyone was watching secretly and whispering, trying to find any clue on each other's faces. The atmosphere in the women's dormitory building was especially heavy. Encounters in the hallway brought strange smiles and eyes that held more scrutiny and guard than before. The usually lively door-to-door visiting had almost disappeared, and dormitory doors were shut tighter than usual. Sophia Taylor had completely become a frightened bird. She almost never left her room for class anymore. According to her roommate Luna Scott's private complaints, she spent all day curled up in bed with the curtains drawn, jumping at the slightest sound, relying on her roommate to bring her a little food and eating very little. That evening, Mike Wilson, Leo Chun, and I were coming back from the Stanford Library and happened to meet one of Sophia Taylor's classmates downstairs, a girl named Chloe Brown. She was whispering to another girl, looking rather upset. Mike Wilson spoke too quickly and greeted, "Hey, Chloe, what are you talking about? You look so serious." Chloe Brown saw us, sighed, and lowered her voice. What else could we be talking about but that priority protection case in our class? Her tone showed obvious dissatisfaction and helplessness. Leo Chun asked curiously, "Sophia Taylor, how is she? Is she okay?" "Okay, what do you mean okay?" The girl next to Chloe Brown curled her lip. "She's been driving our dorm crazy. Mr. Thompson. And the police came to talk to her again this afternoon. And since she got back, she's been even more off. Crying nonstop. Won't tell anyone anything. Just says she's scared and that someone's hurting her." Chloe Brown snapped, her tone a little irritated. "We sympathize with her, but this can't keep happening." The police asked her questions. She could have explained things clearly. When they asked why she went to Dylan Parker's neighborhood that day, she hemmed and hawed for a long time and in the end said something like that. A stranger number texted her saying Dylan Parker had important materials for the school anniversary to give her and told her to wait at the gate. She waited for a long time. Nobody showed up, so she left. That explanation was obviously full of holes. Mike Wilson widened his eyes. A stranger text. She believed that and then she actually went. Leo Chin also frowned. This sounds a bit far-fetched. The police believed her. Chloe Brown snorted. Whether the police believed her or not, I don't know, but we thought it was ridiculous. When asked about the text messages, she said she accidentally deleted them. Asked what time she received it and what time she went, the time she gave didn't seem to match up with some of the surveillance footage the police said they pulled. In short, it was all unclear. Another girl added, "And did you notice? She keeps saying she's innocent and is terrified. But at the same time, she's very resistant to the police investigating further. Always saying things like, the innocent will be vindicated. Don't want to make a big deal of it. I trust the school will do right by me. It just feels kind of weird." At that moment, Ryan Harris happened to walk by and overheard our conversation. He stopped, pushed up his glasses, and sneered. She's certainly putting on a show." We looked at him. Ryan Harris spoke with unabashed sarcasm. "Dylan has made it clear that he never sent any messages, nor did he have anyone forward materials. The police checked the communication records and found no suspicious messages sent from his side. That so-called unknown number after preliminary investigation is an unregistered virtual number range, which is currently difficult to trace. He looked toward the women's dormitory building and said pointedly, right now, the tech forensics police are working with the dorm supervisors in the women's dorm, checking network nodes and usage records floor by floor. I heard they can soon pinpoint the exact port for a given time window. When that happens, it'll be crystal clear who used that IP address to send something. His words landed like a boulder thrown into water, making our hearts sink, pinpointing ports and usage records. That means the room among her would have almost nowhere to hide. Chloe Brown and her classmates showed expressions of nervousness mixed with anticipation. Mike Wilson murmured, "Holy, __, this fast? Doesn't that mean it could be as soon as tomorrow?" Ryan Harris nodded. Most likely. So, if the rumor monger regrets it now, they'd better come forward and confess themselves. It could count as a mitigating factor for turning themselves in if the police come with evidence. He didn't finish the sentence, but the meaning was clear. We chatted a bit more. Then Ryan Harris left ahead of us. The three of us returned to the dormitory, each feeling a little conflicted. The truth seemed to be about to surface with only that final thin veil of a window pane left. Leo Chen lay on the bed staring at the ceiling. What do you think? Suppose it really turns out that Sophia Taylor did it herself. What would she be after? Mike Wilson scoffed. After what? After Dylan Parker. Of course, she accidentally let it slip that day. What's wrong with liking him? You guys forgot? Love turning into hate, or she just wanted to use that low trick to force Dylan Parker to give in? It backfired. I sat at the desk flipping through a book, not joining their guesses, but I knew in my heart that Mike Wilson was probably close to the truth. In my previous life, because of my involvement, public opinion quickly died down and the rumors fizzled out. This time, without my blind defense, Dylan Parker's tough counterattack and the police's involvement would force everything to come to light. Just then, my phone vibrated. A text message from Sophia Taylor had arrived. I opened it. The content was short, but it made my pupils contract slightly. Ethan, can you come out and meet me in the small garden behind the dormitory building? I have something I want to tell you in person. It's important. I'm begging you. The message carried a sense of despair and a last desperate struggle. Mike Wilson leaned over to take a look and exclaimed in surprise. Holy crap. She contacted you. Why now of all times? She isn't trying to make you take the fall. Is she? Leo Chin also grew nervous. Ethan, don't go. What if it's a setup where she starts sobbing and begging you and you soften? I looked at the text message as if I could see Sophia Taylor's pale face and desperate eyes on the other end of the phone. Her reaching out to meant only two possibilities. Either a last plea, using my past feelings for her to get me to help somehow, or resenting my coldness in this life and trying to drag me down, or what does she have something more extreme in mind? I was silent for a few seconds, then my fingers tapped a reply on the keyboard. If there's something, just say it here. Or you can speak directly to the police. Message sent successfully. A few minutes later, the phone vibrated again. This time with only a short sentence. Not even you are willing to help me anymore. Ethan, you'll regret this. Regret? I put my phone away, the corner of my mouth curling into a cold arc. What I regret most is that in my previous life, I trusted you, helped you, and in the end died by your hand. Sophia Taylor, your performance should come to an end. I am looking forward to tomorrow, the moment the truth is revealed. The next day, the entire Stanford campus was filled with a tense, foreboding atmosphere. Classes went on as usual, but almost no one could really concentrate. Everyone's thoughts drifted toward the investigation results about to be announced. During the break, well-informed, Mike Wilson kept refreshing his phone. Suddenly, he gasped sharply, grabbed my arm, and his voice changed timbre. Holy, __, it's out. The Stanford University official site and the bulletin board posted the announcement at the same time. That exclamation sounded like a signal. Almost everyone on the floor instantly pulled out their phones and eagerly tapped the link. Leo Chen hurried over as well. The three of us pressed our heads together, looking at Mike Wilson's phone screen. A striking headline, Notice on the Investigation and Handling of the Circulating False Video Incident. The report detailed the process the police followed after receiving the complaint. Tracing the anonymous account's IP by technical means, checking internet usage records, obtaining relevant surveillance footage, and interviewing the individuals involved. Almost everyone had already guessed the prior procedures. All eyes eagerly scanned to the final decisive investigation results section. Upon investigation, the school's student Sophia Taylor, in order to achieve personal aims, used her own phone to register an anonymous online account and at approximately 2,200 hours on May 9, using her personal computer located in the women's dormitory and through the campus network, disseminated edited video clips of herself across several on-campus online platforms, accompanied by defamatory text implying an improper relationship between her and student Dylan. In subsequent inquiries, Sophia Taylor confessed her actions. Her motive was an affection for student Dylan. She attempted to create a public misunderstanding to put pressure on Dylan in hopes of developing a romantic relationship. Sophia Taylor's actions have seriously fabricated and disseminated false facts, causing great damage to classmate Dylan's reputation, severely disrupting campus order with malicious circumstances and extremely bad influence. According to the Public Security Administration Punishments Law and the Stanford University Student Disciplinary Regulations, after research by the police and the university, it has been decided 1. To impose an administrative detention of 10 days on Sophia Taylor. 2. To expel Sophia Taylor from the university with a probationary observation. Attached below the notice were screenshots of partial technical evidence and excerpts from the inquiry transcript with mosaics, ironclad proof. The entire hallway fell into a dead silence at first, as if the air itself had been sucked out. Then a huge, unbelievable roar erupted like a tsunami. My God, it's really her. Sophia Taylor did this to herself. Film herself. Spread rumors to defame herself. What the hell is this operation? My brain can't process it. To chase Dylan Parker. Are you crazy? What kind of twisted mind would that be? This is terrifying. You'd never be able to tell from how they are normally expelled from school and detained. Their life is basically ruined. I remember how pitiful she looked before. I even felt sorry for her yesterday. What an act. She deserves an Oscar. Oh, her little golden statue. She's treating us like monkeys. Mike Wilson stood with his mouth open, unable to close it for a long time, staring at the notice again and then at me, stammering. Ifan, you knew all along, didn't you? You've been off from the very beginning. Lycan also looked terrified and shocked, slapping his thigh. Holy crap. So that day when she said, "What's wrong with liking him?" It wasn't a slip of the tongue. She was, serious. And all that the innocent need explain, and I don't want to clarify, all lies. She was just trying to keep us calm, afraid we'd dig deeper. The surrounding students' murmurs, exclamations, and jeers bubbled like boiling water. No wonder she freaked out when the police first traced the IP and inventing fake stranger texts. What a joke. Dylan Parker is really unlucky being targeted by that lunatic. Isn't Ethan the unlucky one? He was so close to her before. She almost used him as a pawn. Right, Ethan? You defended her so much before. Didn't she lie to you a lot, too? A classmate couldn't help turning to ask me. I looked at the notice with Sophia Taylor's name and the disciplinary decision, feeling a cold, calm numbness inside. The pain of being poisoned in my past life mixed with the grim satisfaction of watching her bring about her own ruin in this one. I spoke lightly, not loudly, but my voice was enough to make the few people around us fall silent and listen. I stood up for them and I believed in them. That's why I know now that some people aren't worth it. The sentence landed like a stone in the center of a lake, sending out more ripples. Classmates nodded one after another, and their looks toward me gained a bit of sympathy and understanding. Ethan, you see people too clearly. Later, we noticed something was off with you, and we stopped paying attention to her. Good thing you came to your senses early. Otherwise, you'd have been dragged down with us. At that moment, a louder commotion rose from the edge of the crowd. Make way. Make way. Officer Clark from the school security office and 2 uniformed police officers, Officer Davis, strode straight toward the classroom beside us. The room where Sophia Taylor's class will be next. Everyone realized what was about to happen. The crowd went silent and stepped aside, eyes fixed on them. Sophia Taylor was being supported by 2 female classmates coming down the stairs. She clearly already knew what the announcement said. She had completely fallen apart. Her face drained of color, her eyes hollow and vacant, her body limp as a rag, almost being dragged along to walk. When she saw the police at the door and Officer Clark, it was as if she had encountered the most terrifying sight. She let out a piercing scream and struggled violently. "Don't come near me. Don't arrest me. I'm begging you. Please let me go." Her cries were from screaming, full of despair and terror. A stark contrast to the pitiful, pitiable appearance she had worn before. Officer Davis stepped forward with an expressionless face, produced his badge and the relevant documents. "Student Sophia Taylor, regarding the case of your alleged defamation and dissemination of rumors. You are hereby summoned according to law. Please cooperate with the investigation." "No, I won't go. I don't want to go." Sophia Taylor shook her head frantically, tears streaming, her makeup a complete mess. "I'm innocent. What girl would joke with her own chastity? They forced me. It was Dylan Parker. He seduced me first. I only made the mistake that every girl in the world would make." At this point, she was still speaking recklessly and lashing out. Her counselor, Mr. Thompson, stood to the side with a sullen face and scolded, "Sophia Taylor, you still show no remorse? Stop talking nonsense." Officer Davis said, "No more." And one on each side restrained her struggling arms. "Let go of me. Let go of me, Ethan." She suddenly, as if clutching at a straw, whipped her head toward me and screamed in a shrill, pleading voice, "Ethan, help me. You used to help me the most. Tell them I'm innocent. Say something." Everyone's attention instantly fixed on me. I looked at Sophia Taylor, mad, having torn away every last disguise with not a ripple of emotion in my eyes. In my previous life, I was deceived by such a disguise and paid with my life. In this life, I will only look on coldly. I spoke calmly, my voice clearly reaching everyone's ears. "Sophia Taylor, you did this yourself. You must bear the consequences. The law and the school will deal with you justly." My words were like the last straw, crushing her. She suddenly widened her eyes as if she couldn't believe even the last shred of hope had been destroyed, then let out a nearly bestial wail, went completely limp, and was escorted away from the corridor by the police. The entire corridor was silent. Everyone was so stunned by this shocking scene that no one could speak. Only after the officers disappeared at the top of the stairs did the chatter erupt again like thawing rivers, full of shock, sighs, and poignancy. Mike Wilson let out a long breath and murmured, "It's over. Finally over." Leo Chin also nodded heavily. "Terrifying. That woman is terrifying." I turned away, no longer looking in the direction where that farce had ended. Yes, it's over. Maybe. For her, it was the judgment of the law and the destruction of her future. For me, it was the settling of a vendetta from a past life and the beginning of a true rebirth. The air itself seemed to have become much fresher. In the days after Sophia Taylor was taken away by the police, the campus felt as if it were experiencing aftershocks following a major earthquake. Various details, speculations, lingering fears, and gossip continued to ferment, becoming everyone's only topic of conversation after meals. I really didn't expect it. She usually seems so gentle and frail, but her thoughts are so poisonous. Expelled from school and a permanent record, too. Her life is basically over. I heard her family came to the school to make a fuss, but the evidence was conclusive, so there was nothing they could do. Dylan Parker was the one who suffered an undeserved calamity. Luckily, the clarification came in time. Isn't Ethan the wisest? He ignored her later on and escaped unscathed. My name and Dylan Parker's name were mentioned frequently, but in a completely different light. I became the embodiment of having an eye for talent and cutting losses in time. While Dylan Parker was hailed as a model of calm composure and seeking legal redress during break, Mike Wilson and Leo Chan were still gathered around me, and the topic naturally remained that matter. Mike Wilson shuddered. "Ethan, the more I think about it, the more impressed I am. Did you already realize she wasn't a good person? Since when did you know?" Leo Chen nodded vigorously. "Yeah, the way you cooled off toward her later. Looking back, that was so wise. If you jumped in to defend her back then, wouldn't that be awkward now? You might even be suspected of being an accomplice." I smiled and said lightly, "It's nothing really. I just felt some of her later reactions were off, not like someone completely unaware. Better safe than sorry. I couldn't tell them a secret of my rebirth. So, I spoke vaguely. At that moment, a classmate I usually didn't interact with came over and asked curiously, "Ethan, I heard that when Sophia Taylor was taken away in the end, she was crying and begging you to help her. You really didn't soften at all." Several classmates around pricked up their ears. I put down my pen, my tone calm but firm. Soften towards someone who deliberately spread lies, almost ruining another person's reputation for life. Towards someone who treated everyone like fools. My softness isn't that cheap. She broke the law and betrayed everyone's trust. Begging won't help. My words were met with unanimous approval. Exactly. People like that don't deserve sympathy. Ethan has the right values. Suddenly, there was a small commotion at the classroom door. Someone whispered, "Wow, Dylan Parker." We looked up and saw Dylan Parker and his buddy Ryan Harris standing at the doorway of our classroom. Dylan Parker's gaze swept across the room and quickly settled on me. Today he wore a simple white shirt and casual trousers. His posture upright and demeanor cool, but his eyes were no longer as sharp and piercing as when the announcement was made earlier. Instead, they held a hint of calm. He gave me a slight nod. All the eyes in the class instantly focused on the space between me and the door. Mike Wilson excitedly elbowed me. "Holy, Dylan Parker. He's looking for you, Leo." Chin also grew nervous. "What's going on?" I roughly guessed his purpose, and under everyone's curious gaze, I stood up and walked over. "Dylan." I walked up to him and greeted him in a casual tone. Dylan Parker looked at me and spoke directly. "Ethan, you got a moment? I want to talk to you." I nodded. "Sure." We walked to the window at the end of the corridor, which was relatively quieter. Dylan Parker spoke first, his tone sincere. "Ethan, I came to thank you." Although I had expected it, I still raised an eyebrow slightly. "Thank me? I don't think I did anything." "You did." Dylan Parker looked at me and said, "Ryan told me that later Sophia Taylor tried several times to get you to speak up for her, even urging you to oppose the investigation, and you calmly refused each time. You even said things like, 'The innocent will remain innocent. The guilty will remain guilty,' which objectively didn't make this puddle any murkier and indirectly avoided what could have become a much more complicated situation." "Thank you," Ryan Harris added from the side. "Yeah, if you had jumped in and made a mess, this might have taken a lot more work. Kid, you've got a clear head." I didn't expect them to know those details. It seems Dylan Parker has indeed been keeping an eye on how things developed. I shook my head. "No need to thank me. I just did what I thought was right. Anyone in my position once they see things clearly would do the same." Dylan Parker shook his head instead. "Not necessarily. Many people are easily blinded by their feelings and then do things that defy reason. Your calmness and rationality are rare." He paused, his tone softening somewhat. "Also, I apologize for any trouble this matter may have caused you before. After all, I heard you and she seemed to have had a good relationship." He was referring to the talk that had earlier cast me as a backup and a pity case. I smiled. "Those things don't matter. Now that the truth is out, that's good." Dylan Parker seemed to appreciate my attitude. He handed me a well-made business card. "This is my contact information at school from now on, or whenever you need help you can reach out to me." I took the card and glanced at it. It had his phone number and email. It was a gesture of goodwill and also a form of recognition. "Thanks, Dylan. Just call me Dylan." He corrected then, as if remembering something. His tone grew slightly more serious. "Also regarding the handling of Sophia Taylor beyond the notices already issued. There may be follow-ups. Her family seems inclined to act, but the chain of evidence is complete and her motives and actions are all clear, so it's unlikely to change." "Indeed," I replied, "from my years of knowing Sophia Taylor, I should warn you, especially since you have history with her, she's somewhat extreme." "Once she's out," I didn't finish the sentence. But he understood what I meant. "I understand. Thanks for the reminder. I'll be careful." We chatted briefly some more about school and future plans. The atmosphere was very pleasant. Dylan Parker wasn't as unapproachable as he looked, clear-headed and well-spoken. When we were leaving, Ryan Harris patted my shoulder. "Buddy, you've got potential. Keep in touch." Watching him walk away, Mike Wilson and Leo Chun immediately hopped over to my side like rabbits. "Wow, Ethan, what did Dylan Parker talk to you about? He even gave you his business card." He actually came in person to thank you. That's awesome. I put the card away and smiled faintly. Nothing much. Just talked a bit about the case. It's all over now. Yes, the Sophia Taylor chapter has finally been completely closed. Her madness and selfishness ultimately landed her in a detention center and severed every possible future she might have had. And my life finally broke free from the shadow of my past life and set me on a path that truly belonged to me, full of hope. The sunlight at Stanford University streamed through the corridor windows, bright and warm. 2 weeks later, my phone vibrated. A message from Dylan Parker. Ethan, thank you. Sophia Taylor just tried to stab me near a downtown Los Angeles cafe, but I restrained her and the police have taken her away. Thanks to your earlier warning, I stayed on guard. The text message was concise, but carried a lot of information. My pupils constricted slightly, and I immediately replied, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Not even a scratch." She was very flustered and not much of a threat. Besides, I've trained in Saunders since I was a child. Thanks again. I put down my phone. My feelings complicated. Sophia Taylor had, after all, reached this point. Paranoia and resentment had ultimately consumed her. Fortunately, Dylan Parker took my warning and stayed alert. A few days later, the final outcome regarding Sophia Taylor began circulating informally in small circles. Convicted of intentional injury and given a custodial sentence. This time she would spend a rather long period in prison. This time there was no suspense left. The dust truly settled. Time passed. 4 years of university life came to an end. The name Sophia Taylor had long since faded from everyday conversation, becoming a vague and negative symbol. University life was fulfilling and peaceful. I focused on my studies and self-improvement, achieving excellent results. Graduation season arrived and the campus was filled with an atmosphere where farewell and hope intertwined. In the dorm, Mike Wilson wrestled with his tie while wailing. Parker Technology's final interview results are supposed to come out today, right? If I don't get an offer, I'll really have to go home and take over the family convenience store. Leo Chan was relatively calm, straightening his suit cuff. Why rush? If you pass the final, the chances are good. I heard only 3 people from our school got in. Mike Wilson lunged at Leo Chen's computer. Holy crap. For real, Lau, is that you? Sick mun. He whipped his head toward me. Ethan, don't tell me. I nodded and shoved the last few books into the box. Yeah, I just got the email. It went through. Good grief. Mike Wilson plopped down his expression complex. You two really outcompete everyone. Parker Technologies, a Global 500 company. Dinner's on you. You have to treat Leo and laughed. We'll talk after the contract signed. But Ethan, you're seriously rockalid. In the afternoon, I went to Parker Technologies headquarters for the final round of interviews. The process was intense and efficient, and I handled it confidently with solid professional knowledge and clear logic. The interviewers nodded repeatedly, especially showing strong interest in a forward-thinking idea I had for a project in my sophomore year. After the interview, just as I stepped out of the imposing building, my phone rang. It was Leo Chen. Ethan, how'd it go? It should be fine. Great. We just finished, too. Feels promising. Celebrate at the usual place tonight. After hanging up, I took a deep breath of fresh air and felt the future was bright. That evening, the barbecue stalls by the school's back were bustling with people. The 3 of us in the dorm raised our glasses to celebrate. Although Mike Wilson didn't get into Parker Technologies, he still got a good offer and was flushed with drink. Congratulations, Ethan. Congratulations, Leo. You both nailed Parker Technologies. If anyone gets rich, don't forget your friends. Leo Chen sighed. 4 years went by so fast. Thinking back to freshman year, it really was dramatic. The topic unknowingly turned to the past. One classmate lowered his voice. Hey, have you heard Sophia Taylor? Mike Wilson sneered. Heard about it. She even wanted to go hassle Dylan Parker. Ended up getting sent away again and this time for longer. She really brought it on herself. Leo Chen shook his head. Hopeless. Even hatred born of love shouldn't be this extreme. Another classmate looked at me. Ethan, you're the real one. Saw through a long ago and ignored her later. Otherwise, you might have ended up on her bad side, too. I picked up my glass, my tone calm. It's all in the past. Everyone has to take responsibility for their own choices. I didn't mention that I had warned Dylan Parker. That was simply what I felt I had to do to finally end a nightmare on my previous life and to prevent Dylan Parker from repeating my past mistakes, even if the approach was different. Right. Let's not mention her. Killjoy. Mike Wilson shouted. Come on. To our brand new future. To Ethan and Leo's bright prospects. Cheers. Cheers. All the glasses clinked together, ringing clear and bright, brimming with youthful passion and boundless hopes for the future. Looking at my friends' excited faces, I knew the shadow of my past life had been completely severed. Sophia Taylor had paid the heavy price for all her actions and could no longer affect me in the slightest. By virtue of effort and clarity, I obtained an entry ticket to a top company and stood at an extraordinarily broad starting point. The road ahead is long, full of challenges and opportunities, and I, Ethan Johnson, am ready. The starry sky is brilliant, and the future is bright. My beautiful life is only just